Who were you before you became who the world told you to be? When did you become so tamed? Some would suggest it was around the age of 10. That there's a little girl or a little boy you locked away then, and she is crying out, "I'm still here." Zookeepers insist that wild animals in a cage do not miss their wildness. Born in captivity, they have never known anything else but this life that was created for them. They are safe here, they say. No predators, all the food they need. And they might be right. But you gotta wonder, when you see those big cats, the lion standing tall, the leopard with muscles taut, pacing back and forth and back and forth, alert and looking beyond the fence, wondering maybe if there's not something, that powerful animal that knows something is missing. Something is wrong with this life. Something off, something restless, some wide savanna, some fenceless world out there. Do they wonder if life was supposed to be more beautiful than this? Are they missing their wild? Are you? Mark's Jesus is wild. Mark's story of the temptations in the wilderness, you just heard, it's sparse and it's Spartan. No specific temptations ID'd here, like the other Gospels. Just angels who tend to him. And that he was with the wild beasts. He was with the wild beasts. You see, Mark's Jesus is wild. Listen for it as we read from Mark Sunday after Sunday this year. This Jesus is pacing the fence of the world he grew up in, the world that tried desperately to tame him. The leaders of his own church even tried to tame him. The occupying force of Rome, his friends, especially Peter, even his mother tried to protect him from himself. They all tried to put Jesus in a cage of their making. They all buried his truly wild self under their expectations of him, their shoulds. This Jesus does not know what he wants till the very end of this gospel. He is filled with doubts. In Mark's gospel, you can see Jesus pacing the fence others put up for him to tame him. He knew somehow inside himself that something was missing. He knew he was made for something as yet unrealized. And here he is in this gospel, pacing the earth to find out what that is, who he really is. What does it mean that the wild beasts were with Jesus? I propose to you that their sheer wildness was an inspiration to him, and that they were kindred spirits to him. Their lack of tameness gave him the strength he needed to go mano a mano with the adversary outside of him and the adversary inside of him, which was fear. The adversary who is relentless at trying to divert, distract, and seduce Jesus away from himself. Perhaps the wild beasts were tame in comparison with Jesus, who continues to confound our expectations, even his own expectations of himself, who's always surprising us. We have all grown up in cages, the cages of other people's expectations of us. Societal norms, our own insecurities keep us from dreams we once had for our lives. I thought I would be happier than this by now. And so we end up just pacing. Are we missing our own wild? There will be so many people along the way who will try to convince you to be somebody other than you are. There will be so many who will try to change you into themselves. There will be so many who will try to tame you. And even you will try to tame yourself. I can't tell you how many young men and women over the years were tormented by the thought that they might be gay. More precisely, LGBTQ. Who put them in that cage? Some died there. Some died by their own hand because of the homilies they heard, the shaming of their parents, society itself. Can you imagine how powerful the lock on the door of that cage because of fear, torment, that they would be rejected? My sisters, you have been buried under shoulds. My generation, and therefore your moms and grandmas, suffered this the most in our day. You're expected to be so much to so many. You're expected to be martyrs to your own kids, as they would have it, as so many would have it. You are to live in a cage of their making. Be a good little Catholic girl, wife, mother, daughter, woman. Follow the rules. Do it like everybody else does it. When the truth is, you should be free to feel every emotion every woman feels, and I mean feel it. One of my friends who cuts herself tells me she does it just to feel something again. My brothers, you too. How many have told you you can't feel that? You are in cages as well. You too are not allowed to be whole, to be human, to fail, to cry, to experience pain, and talk about it with another human being, even with another, and maybe especially with another man. When was the last time you were vulnerable and your partner, your friend, told you that was not okay, with one signal or another, or even their words? When was the last time you were vulnerable, or is that not okay? Burying what you want, not even knowing anymore what you want. So busy trying to please everybody else, meet all your responsibilities, that you've lost any sense that that is not you. And so now you feel depressed, anxious. You've become workaholics, alcoholics, unhappy. You find no depth in your relationships because you don't even know enough of yourself to share yourself with the person right across from you. And now you live in the fear of saying the wrong thing. Who put you in those cages? Parents. No parent really wants their child to be wild. Yet aren't they? Aren't they supposed to be? How do you know if you went too far in taming them, or just far enough? Be a good little seminarian, and we will ordain you. I've been patted on the head so many times it rubbed my hairs off. And so we good little seminarians bury our thoughts and our creativity and our individuality and our freedom. We were told once by a bishop that the priest should not be too good at preaching. He should not be too talented at the altar, because he would get in the way then of Jesus. He unabashedly was asking us to be mediocre. Sister Colleen and I were comrades, friends, going back to when I was in high school, and just started to think these thoughts that I was thinking about getting ordained and stuff. And she was also, like me, in trouble often in formation for actually sometimes being too happy. But she encouraged me again and again to be yourself, no matter how many people try to keep you from that. Thanks, Colleen. Is that why maybe over the years I've taken such a shine-in to the wild students on campus? Is it because I want to tame them or become them? Believe it or not, people use religion to stay caged from their own wildness. So many would rather pray than live, when prayer should do just the opposite. Ask yourself, please ask yourself, is prayer and the practice of your faith tapping down the feelings that are human and right? Or is your practice of prayer helping you be even more wild, own your own wild and true self? You and I need to spend at least some time this Lent looking hard at our faith, our friendships, our work, our sexualities, our entire life. Is this what I want? Or what have I been conditioned to want? Do I really want this? Or is this what somebody told me to want and programmed into me? And I ask you to even notice the fear that may be coming up inside of you, just hearing this. Any sort of resistance, even in your body, to letting this in that you would even consider and think about. Where is fear in you right now? Every once in a while, as you walk through life, you will remember you're wild. And you will feel alive. You will have tasted freedom from those cages, or at least maybe one of those cages. Maybe it was when you fell absolutely, totally in love for the first time, totally abandoned to something in ways you were not trained to even allow yourself to want. Brave means living from the inside out, someone wrote. Brave means living from the inside out. When was the last time you were that brave? I don't want you pacing along the fence of your life, thinking something's missing, wondering if there's more to you than this. I want you to let yourself be your own self, your own self. I want you to be wild about something, anything, before you tame the best out of you and what is uniquely you. I want you to push the edges of something in your life before it dies, or you do. I don't want you to live your life without living your life. I want you to keep your humanity and everything that comes with it. My friends, it's in you to do that. It is in you to run free. Don't let Gary Brown or anybody stop you. You know the wild. It's in you. You can walk 2 miles at the most from here to one of the best zoos in the world, and you can decry the pent-up wildness of a zoo. But you don't even see that it's happening to you because of everybody else's expectations on you, or maybe even your own now. You, the real you, is buried under all those expectations and all those dreams for you so deep that you don't even know yours. This Lent, look hard at your faith, at your friendships, your work, your sexuality, your entire life, and ask, how much of this was my idea? Who was I before I became who the world told me to be? Maybe then, this Easter, we can step outside of ourselves and roar, "Here I am."